Okay, so getting back into our coverage over Spawn for Spawn Sundays, we do pick up with Spawn number 77. Now, when it comes to Spawn number 77, we actually pick up with Spawn, who is currently with Cogliostro. Now remember, when it comes to Cogliostro, he was a character that was introduced way back into our coverage of Spawn, but the problem is we don't know his actual origin. We are told, hey, you know what? He was a Hellspawn, but he was able to break free from that curse. But we were not told how or if he was really a Hell Spawn. Now, with that being said, when it comes to Spawn, he had just learned that he could be possibly the key to stop the war between heaven and hell. And so he is finally done with all these different questions popping up left and right. He wants some answers. And so he goes to Cogliostro and say, I am tired of all your trick sentences, all your trick statements. I need you to go ahead and tell me, like, one, am I the key to stop the war between heaven and hell? And if I am, who's the child that's going to help me stop the war? But on top of that, what else do you know about Hellspawns? What is your actual origin? Now, at first, when it comes to Cogliostro, he don't want to say anything at all. Matter of fact, he wants to go ahead and move on with his life or keep Spawn in the shadows. Kind of like, no, I don't think you're ready yet. You need to ask me a few more questions. But Spawn says, no, you are going to tell me now. But we have to pick up with a homeless person known as Bobby. Now, when it comes to Bobby, he is a close friend of Spawn that we have actually seen a lot of times when it comes to our coverage so far over the main Spawn series. Now, when it comes to Bobby, he actually got stabbed just a couple videos ago, but he was saved by another character known as Bootsy. Now, when it comes to Bootsy, he was actually an angel who was sent down to Earth to kind of give humans different kind of miracles in life. Except when it came to Bootsy, he did break a major rule. And the rule he broke was that he is not allowed to intervene in humans' lives. Meaning that if they're going to die, he cannot do anything at all to change that. But he did for Bobby. And so Bootsy got taken away. But Bobby wants to know what happened to Bootsy, because Bootsy just really got dragged away by some angels. Now, when it comes to Bobby, he's kind of sad about what happened to Bootsy. And, you know, he also feels sad about the idea that he is homeless. Now, that is when he is confronted by a lady known as Sarah Frost, who basically owns a community outreach center called Saving Grace. And this could be a major break for Bobby. Now, we do jump back over to Spawn and Cogliostro with just real quickly, because you have Cogliostro take Spawn to an underground library. Now, when it comes to Cogliostro, he tells Spawn, you need to study all your different powers. Now, the reason why, because he heard what Spawn was able to do in a previous story arc, where he was able to help Grandmother Blake be able to see her dead husband by taking her to the dead zone. Something that other people are able to reach, but it's not easy to reach. But Spawn was able to reach it. And so you have Cogliostro ask Spawn, do you know how you got there? Spawn says no. So Cog says you need to study your powers to learn more about them. Now, we do jump over to Sam and Twitch. Now remember, Sam and Twitch used to be two police officers for the NYPD, but unfortunately, they lost their jobs when they were trying to bring down their boss, Sheriff Banks. Now, they were able to bring him down, but unfortunately, they already lost their jobs. Now, they had became private investigators. But recently, Cogliostro had came to them and said, you two are going to be very important for Spawn when it comes to a huge battle down the road. But again, Cogliostro has not told them reasons of why they would be the two major players for Spawn to win some major battle down the road. Either way, they had learned a lot of information about Spawn. And so when it comes to Sam, he's kind of tired of Spawn. He realized Spawn most likely cost their jobs, that Spawn has caused a lot of other problems in the city as well. And so it's Sam saying, we are going to find Spawn and, well, kill him. Now we have to pick up with Bobby once again. And like I said earlier, Bobby is kind of down on his luck with the whole idea of one, almost dying, but two, a dear friend of his had lied to him for almost their entire time being friends to only find out that homeboy is an angel. Now that is the moment where he is confronted by Sam and Twitch, because they know that Bobby should know where Spawn is at, except it has been a while since Spawn and Bobby have seen each other, so there's no way that Bobby knows where Spawn is at. But Sam and Twitch are having a hard time believing him because they feel like he is trying to protect Spawn. And so, of course, they do realize that maybe he does not know where Spawn is at. But getting back over to Spawn and also, well, Cogliostro, this is where we find out that Cogliostro was a Hellspawn. And matter of fact, he had been a Hellspawn hundreds and hundreds, possibly thousands and thousands of years ago. Either way, because he was a Hellspawn, he had fought different Spawn hunters over the years. Of course, talking about angels. Now, with that being said, he realized that he no longer wanted to be a Hellspawn. Now, before I dive even deeper, I do want to mention that when it comes to Cogliostro, he took Spawn over to this library that has all the information about different Spawns and their powers. Now, getting back over to Cogliostro's origin, you had Cogliostro tell Spawn, like, yes, I was a Hellspawn, but I got tired of that life, and so I wanted to break free. The problem was, though, even though he was able to find a way to break free, unfortunately his soul is no longer allowed to go to heaven nor hell, and so unfortunately homeboy is stuck on Earth forever. But getting back over to Bobby just real briefly, you have Bobby continue to go through Rat City alleyways. And when he does, unfortunately, he does find one of his friends, Whistler, who has been murdered. Now, when it comes to Whistler, he was actually in the earlier parts of this issue, but I felt like to go ahead and skip over his actual introduction and go ahead and jump over to his death. Either way, when it comes to his death, it really does bother Bobby even more. But getting back over to Cogliostro and Spawn, you have Cogliostro explain to Spawn how he would be able to actually stop the war between heaven and hell. Now, here's the thing, because he does say there is a way. But the only way to actually do it is if Spawn becomes the devil, meaning that Spawn is going to have to replace Malbolgia. It's the only way for Spawn to actually win. It's the only way for Spawn to be able to stop the war. But if he does replace Malbolgia, he'll then be able to bring, good to the earth. Because even though there's heaven, heaven is technically not bringing anything good to the earth, and so Spawn could do that and be better than hell and heaven. Now for Spawn, that's a lot to ask, but unfortunately before he is able to answer or ask more questions, that is when he gets another vision. But getting back over to Sam and Twitch, this right here is going to bring a whole lot more problems to all our different characters. But getting back over to Sam and Twitch, while you have the two guys discussing how they are going to be able to find Spawn, well, that is the moment where unfortunately a random guy tries to shoot at them and kill them off. Now Sam thinks that he was able to get Twitch behind the car for some cover, but he was also able to shoot the guy in the head, killing off the shooter. Now, once he does take care of the shooter, he's kind of wondering why in the world was that guy trying to kill off both Sam and Twitch. Now, he does ask Twitch questions, but he doesn't realize that Twitch was actually hit in the head. And so behind him right now, his partner Twitch has been shot and killed. And so we do get into spawn number 78. Now, when we do pick up with Twitch being in the hospital. So now we know that even though he was shot, he has a chance to live. It's just that that chance is very slim. Now, when it comes to Sam, he does feel kind of bad about the idea, not kind of bad, he feels very bad about the idea of his partner being in the hospital. And the reason why, because it was him who wanted to go out there that night to look for Spawn, because he blamed Spawn for everything that was happening to him. When it came to Twitch, he was more of like, I kind of want to look at more clues before we were able to say that Spawn is a bad guy. But Sam would not listen. And so thanks to Sam, Twitch got shot. But luckily, Twitch did survive for now. And so you have Sam just begging for anybody to come out and actually save the life of Twitch. Now that is the moment where you have Spawn arrive, because he heard what Sam said, and Spawn's like, okay, so you beg for somebody to come here to basically help out your partner that got shot because of you. Well, I can do that for you, but once I do it, you're going to owe me one. And so even though you have Sam, who still does not trust Spawn, is really trying to protect his friend from Spawn, like, no, I don't trust you. I don't know you. I mean, I do know you. I read your file. You're Al Simmons. But again, I don't know if I can trust you or if I should basically try to kill you. And so you have Spawn ignore Sam and go ahead and give Twitch the ability to heal up, to survive. And you have Spawn say, tomorrow morning, when he wakes up, he'll be healed. He'll be okay. The doctors will call it a miracle. Now, here's the thing. Only you will know what happened to him, how he was able to recover. But just know, what I did for you, that means you work for me. I'm your master now. And so when I come, you better be able to work for me anytime I need you. Now, you do have Sam leaving the hospital. Now, while leaving, he does run into a character known as Sarah Frost. Now, when it comes to Sarah, we saw it in our last chapter, except in the last chapter, she was a blonde woman who was trying to help out Bobby. Now, with that being said, though, now it's her trying to give Sam hope, because even though Sam knows that Twitch is now going to be okay, thanks to Spawn, he's still very worried for his friend. And so it's Sarah kind of bringing hope into Sam's life. And this will begin an actual relationship between the two characters. Now, Sam does go home for the night, and when he does go home, he does fall asleep at his desk, just worrying about different things and why that guy tried to kill Twitch and him for. Except when he falls asleep and he wakes back up, he realized the newspaper that he fell asleep on has some words written on it. Of course, it came from Spawn, and it's Spawn telling Sam, you need to figure out who is the killer, because apparently right now there's somebody out there in the city going around killing off different people who are technically forgotten about when it comes to police work. So like homeless people, or sex workers, or some minority races, or some minority groups out there. Either way, it's Spawn saying, I need you to figure out who is this killer and why is he targeting all these different kinds of people. Now, before Sam is able to begin to work on the case, he does check up on Twitch. And of course, when he goes to the hospital, Twitch is okay and well. As a matter of fact, you have Twitch being surrounded by his wife and his kids. Now, after you have Sam realize that Twitch is going to be okay, you have Sam begin to work on the case that was given to him by Spawn. But before he leaves the hospital, he is confronted by Sarah once again. And you have Sarah kind of being that girl, kind of like, hey, you know, hope and all that stuff. But again, it's kind of bringing in their relationship into status. Like, could these two characters get together? Will they fall in love? Will Sam finally have somebody to care for? Now, after you have Sam leave the hospital and go to the different crime scenes of the different murders that happen across the city, you then have Sam go by the morgue. Now, when he goes by the morgue, it's not to look at the dead bodies of the recent people, the recent victims, it's to look at the dead body of the guy who almost killed Twitch. Now, we saw at the very end of the last chapter, we were left to believe that Sam had killed the shooter, except we come to find out Sam did not kill the shooter. He shot him in the shoulder, and that shouldn't have killed the shooter at all. But apparently something else did. Well, the problem is, they can't figure out what killed him. It's like he just died just like that. Now, when it comes to Sam, he does observe the body. And when he does observe the body, he sees a mark behind the ear of the guy, some kind of symbol. Now, Spawn is also there in the dark, observing as well. And now you have Sam and Spawn both wondering what in the world is going on with that mark. Now you have Spawn go over to the Hellspawn Archives, of course, the library underground that Cogliostro shows Spawn in the last chapter. Now when Spawn arrives, he begins to look at the symbol or try to find the symbol in all the different books in the room. Now luckily for both Spawn and Cogliostro, they are able to find the symbol, but this is where the story gets a tad bit interesting, because we kind of find out the symbol belongs to the Templar Knights, or the Order of the Templar Knights, and usually that symbol means that the soul of the person is already gone, meaning that that soul has already gone to hell for the crimes that they have committed. It's kind of like saying no matter what you do after you have committed some kind of sin or crime, you are going to hell. You be bad for 1 year and be good 6 years after that, you are still going to hell. And so when it came to that shooter who shot Sam and Twitch, he was already going to hell no matter what. His soul was already taken. It was just a shell of a person walking around and just still being evil. Now, once we do get to the end of this chapter, we do pick up with Sam and Twitch meeting up at their office. Now, this is the point where you have Twitch jump in and being able to find more clues to help out Sam, which of course can help out Spawn as well. Now, when it comes to the clues that Twitch had found, he realized that at every single scene of the crime, the killer had left behind some kind of letter. The thing is though, when it comes to the letter, all the easy words are misspelled, but the more advanced words are spelled correctly, which tells Twitch that that was done on purpose. It's kind of like the killer is trying to say, here's a clue if you're trying to find me. Now, Spawn arrives and demands to know what Sam and Twitch had found, except before they are able to explain what they have found, Sam gets a call. And that call is telling him there was another victim. And so now Spawn is even more upset about the idea that the killer was able to get another life. And so when we jump into Spawn number 79, we do pick up with a new character known as Ethan Crone. Now, when it comes to Ethan Crone, he is a wealthy writer who is currently writing an article about the recent murders of the different homeless people, but also the sex workers as well. Now, with that being said, when it comes to Ethan, he kind of likes the idea of writing this story. He finds the killer interesting, brings some excitement into his life. And matter of fact, when he is leaving for the night, it's raining, and of course you have the city scared right now about all these different kinds of murders. But this guy is not scared at all. Matter of fact, he finds the killing so exciting that his day cannot be ruined so easily. And so we jump over to Bobby, who is currently being interrogated by 2 police officers. And the reason why, because the police believe that Bobby is actually the killer, that Bobby had killed off one of his friends who were one of the victims of this new killer. And the only reason why they think that is because they found evidence on the dead body that belongs to Bobby. But on top of that, they feel like because Bobby is a, alcoholic, they think that Bobby had killed off his friend over a bottle to drink. Now, we already know that Bobby is innocent, but Of course, these police officers are just trying to find anybody they can to pin this on and to hopefully wrap this case up. But the problem is, though, if they do that and the killer strikes again, it's going to look bad on them. Now, with all that being said, you didn't have Bobby realize he does have one call, and the one call he used is for Sarah Frost. And the reason why, because she's trying to help out homeless people in the area. And right now, he needs her help. Now, when it comes to Spawn, he is able to go to the latest crime scene. Now, when he does, he's kind of able to take in what happened here as a way to recreate the entire scene to kind of figure out what happened to the latest victim. Now, here's the thing, because Spawn was able to realize or learn the latest victim was a child. Now, when I say a child, I don't mean someone like 5, 6, 7 years old. I mean more of a 15-year-old. Either way, this was a child who ran away from home. Now, she did get some help out in the streets, but unfortunately, she did not want that help. And so she continued to go back out into the streets. And that was where she got killed off. And so when it comes to Spawn, it bothers him so much because this was a child that was killed. And so Spawn saying, this child did not have the chance to live a life. This child's life was taken by someone who most likely enjoys killing. And that right there is a problem. And so Spawn saying, I'm going to find out the person who had killed you. Now, we do see Sam and Sarah have dinner with one another. So we're continuing the idea of these two people being able to come together as a couple. These two people, building a relationship. But Sarah also mentions that she was able to help Bobby get out of the police department, but to also get into her program to kind of help him fight against his being an alcoholic. And so with all that being said, it looked like at first that Sam and Sarah might become a power couple in Spawn Comics. Now, when Sam goes back to his office, meets up with Twitch. And again, Twitch is kind of more able to find hidden evidence where no one else is able to find. And so when it comes to Twitch, he said, hey, look at this. Every single victim that had died by this new killer, they all have one connection. That one connection is your new girlfriend, Sam, Sarah. They all went to her community center to get help. She was helping them, and they all left her center, and they all ended up dead after that. That right there is very concerning. Why is that happening? Sarah is the killer. Now, you do have Sam head over to where Sarah works at to kind of figure out, is she the killer? Now, the thing is, when he does arrive, he finds Bobby. And remember, Bobby is supposed to be inside the clinic getting some help to fight against his alcoholism. I know I just butchered that word. Either way, when it comes to Sam, he's worried about Bobby, and the clinic is closed down. And so you have Sam go ahead and break into the clinic to give Bobby some help. Except when he does go inside the clinic, well, he finds a shrine. And this shrine is, not a good kind of shrine. And so it does bring some concerns for Sam. Is his new girlfriend, Sarah, is a killer? That's the big question. But this is where we are going to end today's comic book video. So please leave me a like down below and subscribe. But guys, see y'all next time. Later.